Harley Lippman. He is a foreign policy expert, also a board member of the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism, and policy. Harley, let's start with that joint statement released by the Harvard Palestinian Society in Solidarity Group. They say they hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for the unfolding violence that touched off a firestorm of controversy. Your thoughts on that controversy, and also why did it take so many elite colleges and universities so long to address it?
Well, this is not about the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. I'm very pro-Israeli. I'm a Zionist. I also care deeply about Palestinians, and I believe they have a right to a nation of their own. This is not about that. This is about an organization called Hamas that has taken over the Palestinian people in Gaza. Israel left in 2005. Israel is not persecuting the Palestinians or Gaza. Hamas is exploiting their own people so that they could wage war and annihilate all the Jewish people in Israel.
But Harley, you know that, and I know that. And then on Saturday, we watched as innocent men, women, and children were massacred by Hamas. Why did it take the head of Harvard University so long to come out and say, students, this was a massacre, this was a terrorist attack?
No, it's a great question. I think because of one, deeply rooted anti-Semitism. Jewish lives just don't matter. Second, they are falling prey to Hamas propaganda. You know, they're trying to build this as the Palestinian people have suffered, it's apartheid. I get all that. But at the end of the day, if we stand for anything as a civilization, it's that whatever your grievance, you don't intentionally murder women and children and elderly. You don't rape girls in front of their parents and then kill them all. You don't, take 85-year-old grandmothers in a wheelchair as hostage to Gaza. You don't do that. That is out and out murder. That's what the Nazis did. This is what ISIS does. And this is not about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So the fact that they took so long to answer is deeply disturbing. It shows a lack of moral leadership, that you can draw a clear distinction between the murder of innocent people and a legitimate fight against Israel if they're against Israeli policies.
Harley, after that hospital airstrike yesterday, hundreds died. Israel was blamed for it. The United States then came out less than 24 hours later, said it was a group linked to Hamas, but by then it was too late. How do you address the truth when there are so many, it seems, who want to believe something other than that?
Another great question. This is what's really scary, that even with the facts where the bombing of the hospital was done by Islamic Jihad, it was an errant missile that hit the hospital, people don't even care. They're filled up with so much hatred against the Jewish people that that is what dominates. So this is a new era in the world. This is Holocaust 2.0. When you're blaming the Jews for everything, which is historically what was the Jewish fate in the world, Jews were made scapegoats. This is the history of Jews around the world. And this is what's happening now. They're blaming Jews for everything, irrespective of the facts. And unless we deal and address it as anti-Semitism, we're not going to be able to deal with it. This is not about being anti-Israel. I get it. You could be anti-Israel all you want. Israel does plenty of things where they make mistakes, and it's all right to be critical. But this is not about that. This is celebrating murdering Jewish women and children in the most barbaric way. This is a clash between civilization and savagery. It's nothing less.
As an investigative reporter, I remember doing an investigation on what Washington knew about the Holocaust and was stunned to see that in 1939, they knew about the death camps in Europe. They also knew about the railroad tracks going into the various death camps because there were detailed maps where our government did not want to bomb those sites. There were editorials in the New York Times and the Washington Post, and yet nothing happened. How concerned are you that we are seeing a repeat, except we're seeing a repeat of that, I guess what, anti-Semitism at a time when there is the internet and students that can go online and Google everything they need to know to get the facts?
Yeah, you said it well. That's why I said it's Holocaust 2.0. It has now become normalized the way it was in the 1930s and 40s to not only hate Jews, but to murder them. When these Harvard students right away said Israel bears full responsibility for people burning people alive in their homes, a family with children and grandparents who are just civilians, that's not Israeli responsibility. That's a responsibility of murderers and killers. And Hamas is responsible for that. And the clear message I want to convey is that Hamas is putting the Palestinian people in danger. They are using them. They don't care about them. You know, think about it. Why aren't there bomb shelters in Gaza? Why aren't there tunnels for the people? For a reason, because they don't care about them. But Hamas leaders are hiding in tunnels. Their children are hiding in Europe or attending European universities. They don't care about the Palestinian people. I care about the Palestinian people. And I think they deserve to have a nation of their own. But this is not the way to go about this. And this is really about the resurgence of anti-Semitism and the world. And Jews are the canary in the coal mine. It starts with the Jews, but it never ends with the Jews. So if we don't stand up and stop it now, we're going to end up getting into a World War III, and the whole world will be in danger.
As you know, Hamas came to power in 2007. Most of the children in Gaza right now are young, too young to have even voted for Hamas. That being said, how concerned are you that based on what is happening right now in Gaza, based on the bombing of the hospital, even though it was Hamas, so much misinformation out there that we could be looking at another generation of Middle Eastern hate and war?
That is true. However, believe it or not, I'm an optimist. Why? I think the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, are tired of Hamas. They are tired of being bombed and bombed by the Israelis. I think they want a better life. And I think what we did in World War II, where we defeated fascism and we reached out to Germans, and Germany was created after World War II with reasonable Germans, and they managed the country. I think we have to go into Gaza, get rid of Hamas as a Nazi ISIS organization, and reach out to the Palestinian people in Gaza and search for a partner. They don't have to like Israel. They just have to be able to live alongside Israel. And I think there are enough people there that want a better life and that will emerge in leadership. So I believe this is a hopeful opportunity.
Harley Lippman with the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy. Harley, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
When we come back, we are mere minutes away now from President Biden addressing the nation about aid for both Ukraine and, yes, that crisis in Israel. We'll have analysis of what the president is set to say. That's next.
Tonight, finding the facts amid the fog of war.
We're seeing a fair bit of military activity from both sides.
With Scripps News reporters covering every angle of the war between